Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Can you take your seats? Good evening. We're about to start the festivities. If you could take a seat, please. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, family, friends, members of the community, distinguished guests, members of the Board of Selectmen, Town Manager Hartman, chiefs, retired chiefs in the room, Chief Brooks, retired Chief Gear, and retired Chief Phillips from Avon. Thank you for all being here. Today is a celebration of new beginnings. Approximately 1 year ago, 20 individuals embarked on the start of a potential new career in policing, with an orientation in the Stoughton Police Department. This was a pretty big thing for 20 kids, young adults in the community who wanted to become police officers. They had no idea what they were going to go through. Those 20 individuals walked in, sat down, were being judged from the moment they walked into the room. They were given a 3-ring binder, 50 pages of an application that they were going to have to fill out. I'm sure that was a pretty daunting thought to all of them. During this orientation, they were hoping to begin the opportunity of becoming a member of the Stoughton Police Department. During the process, these 5 officers in the front row, they stood out. Their backgrounds were impeccable. During this arduous background, they shined as candidates with great character, integrity, and perseverance. When they were chosen and given conditional offers, that was just the beginning. They then took a physical abilities test, psychological exam, and a physical exam, all to get into the police academy, which started in December of 2016. The 5 began a grueling task of surviving, and I do mean surviving, a 26-week program with the Boston Police Academy. During those 26 weeks, they were tested beyond belief in their physical abilities, mental abilities, educationally, with the extensive aspects of recruit training. Subjects such as criminal law, constitutional law, motor vehicle law, juvenile law, domestic violence, communication skills, diversity, community policing, firearms, applied patrol procedures, and evasive driving. They only totaled 1 cruiser. All of the hard work culminated yesterday for these 5 young, aggressive individuals when they were graduated from the Boston Police Academy and the class that ended yesterday. The graduation was a great ceremony in Boston with Police Commissioner Evans, Mayor Walsh, and 5 other chiefs from other communities who also had offices in the academy class. It is with great pleasure to introduce to the Stoughton community the newest members of the Stoughton Police Department, Officer Michael Cowgill. So Michael came to us, by the way, currently lives in Stoughton with his wife Kelly, is a graduate of East Bridgewater High School, and holds a bachelor's degree in management from Bridgewater State College. Prior to becoming a police officer, Michael worked for the Suffolk County Sheriff's Department at Nashua Street for 4 years as a corrections officer. Next, Officer Bryan Flanagan. Bryan is also a Stoughton resident who graduated from Boston College High School and holds a bachelor's degree from the University of Rhode Island. Prior to joining the Stoughton Police Department, he worked as a police officer for Tufts University Medical Center. Officer Matthew Gada. Matthew is a graduate of Stoughton High. He is a senior Airman in the United States Air Force. In his 6 years with the Air Force, he has been stationed in Dover Air Force Base in Delaware, Cushman Air Force Base in South Korea, Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada, and Matthew will be pinned tonight by his mother, Joanne. Officer Kimberlyn, Lydon. Officer Lydon is a graduate of Norwood High School. Prior to becoming a police officer with the town of Stoughton, she worked as a dispatcher both in the police department. We actually stole her from the fire department and brought her over to the police department, and where she honed her skills dispatching for us for nearly 3 years. Last but not least, Officer Bryan Mokrisky. Bryan is a lifelong Stoughton resident and a Stoughton High School graduate. Prior to becoming a member of the Stoughton Police Department, he was a member of the Norfolk County Sheriff's Office. He currently serves in the Massachusetts National Guard as an MP out of the Taunton, Mass. The Norfolk County Sheriff's Office is also my former employer, so Bryan comes from good line of law enforcement. If Amy Summers, the town clerk, could please come forward and confer the oath of office.
Is there a good place to put this? Okay. So you're going to raise your right hands and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as a police officer for the town of Stoughton, Massachusetts. I will bear true faith and allegiance to and will uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I will obey and be bound by such rules and regulations as are now or may be established by the town of Stoughton and its police department. I state your name. So solemnly swear that I will never betray my badge, my integrity, my character, or the public trust. I will always have the courage to hold myself and others accountable for our actions. I will uphold the Constitution, my community, and the Stoughton Police Department. So help me God. I state your name. Hereby accept the position of police officer for the town of Stoughton. Congratulations.
So I'd like to ask the family members of the officers, Stephanie Mokrisky, Julie Lydon, Kelly Cowgill, Lieutenant Bonnie, and Joanne Gada, to all step forward and pin your family member. So now, because I like to hire tall people, I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to stand in front of them because they all tower over me. For our next swearing-in, I would like to take a moment to recognize some of the accomplishments of the next person being recognized. Today is Bryan Holmes, who's going to be sworn in as Deputy Chief of the Stoughton Police Department. Bryan has worked and been involved in the community for over 20 years, has worked for the Stoughton Police Department for 20 years. He began his public safety career when he became a dispatcher. Again, we stole him from Avon. He was quickly identified as a go-to person in his position as a dispatcher and was assigned to be the municipal database liaison. Bryan became a police officer in 1999 and was given added responsibilities as crime prevention officer, field training officer, child safety seat technician, CPR first responder instructor. Bryan has trained officers all over the Commonwealth. He's well respected within the community, and he's well respected within policing within the Commonwealth. In 2003, Bryan coordinated the implementation of the automated external defibrillators for the community after a member of our community raised the money to buy 14 AEDs for the police department. He's developed the EMS program within the training department for the Stoughton Police Department. To his credit of the work that he has done with his training skills, today an officer of the Stoughton Police Department saved a man's life at a construction site. That is just some of the things that Bryan has done over his 20-year career while here in Stoughton. Officers have been trained since 2004 in EMS and first responder skills by myself and Bryan, and it has paid off to the members of our community for many, many years. He has been a municipal police training council instructor for many years. Bryan was forward-thinking. Before the marathon, we had an incident here in town where we had an individual that nearly bled to death from a femoral bleed. Bryan took it upon himself to request permission to implement tourniquet training in our EMS training that year, about a month before the marathon bombing. This forward thinking is just some of the things that Bryan is all about. This implementation was a necessity for our town, and as we've seen over the last 4 years, has become the standard in the Commonwealth for police officers carrying tourniquets. In 2014, Bryan, along with myself and other members of this community and the fire department, developed an naloxone Narcan program, which was outside of the Department of Public Health pilot program. This training was on the forefront of the opiate epidemic. Bryan, myself, Dr. Muse from Brockton Hospital, members of the fire department all came together to train police officers all over the state. We went to Essex County, we went to Plymouth County, Norfolk County, and we trained first responders in the implementation of carrying Narcan. Many, many lives have been saved as a result of this program started here in Stoughton. We were the first police department to carry Narcan in our cruisers, and many communities followed shortly after, and has become the norm for all police officers in the state of Massachusetts. Bryan was on the ground floor of the Community Policing Unit in 2004 to 2009 for the Stoughton Police Department. In 2011 until 2016, he was a K-9 handler with his partner Annie. In 2013, Bryan became a patrol sergeant. During that time, he was tasked with an enormous collateral duty of becoming the firearms licensing sergeant with, on average, 300 applicants per year. That's a large collateral duty that he has been tasked with over the last 4 years. In 2015, Bryan was recognized for his leadership, his work ethic, and his model behavior, and was given the award of Supervisor of the Year. Since 2013, Bryan has shown great leadership, but he has also shown that leadership from the moment he took his dispatch position. Some of the specialized training that Bryan has gone through is FBI Leader Trilogy Award recipient, FBI Leader Internal Affairs training, advanced budgeting courses, employee rights training, and numerous other firearms law courses. Bryan has also, on his own time, volunteered within our community. He's been on the South School PTO since 2006 and has assisted in the Touch-A-Truck, the Pumpkin Patch, and coached youth soccer. I think you would remember him in some of the haunted Halloweens, if you've ever gone to any of them. He's got a unique costume. I'll let him talk about that. Some of the awards Bryan has received while with the Stoughton Police Department in his 20-year career has included 3 Life-Saving Awards, Community Service Award, Patrol Officer of the Year Award, and Supervisor of the Year. Today is a celebration of leadership. It is with great pleasure that I here today swear in and promote Bryan Holmes to the position of Deputy Chief of Police.
Talking to the microphone. You're just going to repeat after me.
Okay.
I state your name.
I, Bryan J. Holmes,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
and impartially discharge
and impartially discharge
and perform
and perform
all the duties
all the duties
incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
as a Deputy Chief
as a Deputy Chief
for the town of Stoughton,
for the town of Stoughton,
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
I will bear true faith
I will bear true faith
and allegiance to
and allegiance to
and will uphold
and will uphold
and defend
and defend
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
of America
of America
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
I will obey
I will obey
and be bound by
and be bound by
such rules and regulations
such rules and regulations
as are now
as are now
or may be established
or may be established
by the town of Stoughton
by the town of Stoughton
and its police department.
and its police department.
I state your name,
I, Bryan J. Holmes,
so solemnly swear
so solemnly swear
that I will never betray
that I will never betray
my badge,
my badge,
my integrity,
my integrity,
my character,
my character,
or the public trust.
or the public trust.
I will always
I will always
have the courage
have the courage
to hold myself
to hold myself
and others
and others
accountable
accountable
for our actions.
for our actions.
I will uphold
I will uphold
the Constitution,
the Constitution
my community,
of my community
and the Stoughton Police Department.
in the Stoughton Police Department.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I state your name,
I, Bryan J. Holmes,
hereby accept
hereby accept
the position
the position
of Deputy Chief
of Deputy Chief
for the town of Stoughton.
for the town of Stoughton.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Pinning Bryan tonight is his son Christopher and his daughter Caitlin. Don't worry about stabbing.
Pulling the shirt way out.
There you go. Good job. So as you can see, the theme of tall people, I'm going to introduce Bryan Holmes.
Thank you, Chief. So I'd like to thank the Chief and the Town Manager for trusting me to this position. This is an awesome responsibility. First, I want to echo the sentiments of the Chief of Police and congratulating these 5 fine individuals, the newest members of the Stoughton Police Department. I want to welcome you to the family. Stand by. You guys are going to be challenged. You're going to be trained under the watchful eye of Lieutenant Bonney through the field training program. And it's going to be challenging, but we hope that you come out of it a better individual and ready for the street. My advice to you is that you try to remember who you are today and don't let this job change you. Remember who you are, remember who your friends are, remember who your family is. It's important that you maintain a balanced life outside of the police department and maintain contact with these folks. I'd also like to acknowledge the brass. There are chiefs in this room from area communities. I am both humbled and honored by your presence in this room. I have to acknowledge retired Chief Bob Gary from the town of Avon in the checkered blue shirt over here. He's the man that got me involved in this business. And for that, I say he's successful in helping me become a better man. The members of the Board of Selectmen is constituted today. You folks, the 5 of you, have never, in my recollection, been more supportive of public safety in the history of this town. We have things that are changing. Moving forward, there are considerations that we need to look at. So the business of policing is one that I have a great passion for. I love this job. I've been doing it for a long time, and I wouldn't change anything. The things that happen over the course of our career and the members of the Stoughton Police Department are the things that made us who we are. I see a lot of red shirts, members of the red team, my brothers on the red team. I want to thank you folks for being here tonight. I value the working relationship that we have. What I'm asking the men and women of the Stoughton Police Department to do is to have faith that we are going to be okay. Have faith that the chief has placed her trust in me, and I'm asking you men and women of the Stoughton Police Department to place your trust in us. We are going to be okay. To my wife, my family, I'd like to thank you folks for always being behind me and always being there. For positions like Deputy Chief, there is always a family behind the scenes that are very happy to keep you humble and remind you of things. Like, you know, the card that my wife left for me today that said, just because you're Deputy Chief doesn't mean you can leave your laundry all over the house anymore there, big fella. So, in addition to that, they're along this journey with me, and they have been 110% supportive. My mother-in-law, you're the gas that makes the car go here. I couldn't get through a week without you. You know, if I say too many nice things about my wife, my daughter will chime in and she'll start saying, Dad, you're fangirling on Mom again. I learned a new word this last couple weeks because she said that. So this time last year, my son left me a nice note, and it was a Father's Day note. And in school, he had done an exercise where he had to use 5 or 6 words to describe how he sees me. And through the eyes of a child, I was honored to see those words. And those words are things that will remain between he and I. But I'll bring them into my office with me because those words are valuable. And I hope to use those words to help me navigate through my service to the men and women of the Stoughton Police Department, working along with Chief McNamara. My fellow elected officials in this room, I've enjoyed many conversations with you folks throughout the years and through my time as an elected official. And I would like to say that although I have respectfully disagreed with some of you folks, and then I have healthily agreed with some of you folks at various times, I think we all want the same thing, and that's a better town of Stoughton. We want to give the taxpayers the best possible Stoughton that we can give them. And, you know, my roadmap may be a little bit different than the roadmap of some of you folks in the room, but by effective communication, I think we can get to a better Stoughton. So I want to thank you folks for your service to the town and for being here tonight. I want to steal from the 65th Secretary of State for the United States government and borrow some of the discussion that he had. Four-star retired Army General Colin Powell. He spoke at Colgate University several years ago on the topic of leadership. And one of the things that he talks about when he discusses leadership is that it's kind of simple if you focus on a few things. One of the first things that he wants to discuss in his paradigm is he wants to talk about leadership being looking through the front windshield of life and to never look in that rearview mirror. I like the idea of looking through the windshield of life because we're always moving down the road. I don't entirely agree that we should never look in the rearview mirror because, as I stated earlier, these are the things that made us who we are. If you look in that rearview mirror, you realize what it is you're moving away from, and if you look in that rearview mirror, you realize the things that made us who we are, working toward a better goal, a better tomorrow, looking out the windshield of life, or the windshield of your career, or the windshield of your leadership perspective, whatever it happens to be. The second thing he talked about is focusing on a purpose. We have to think about what it is that we do. What is our business of policing? What is our purpose? And are we leaving the people that we deal with on the street better than we found them? If we focus on the purpose of this job, we can accomplish a lot in a short period of time. So it's the job of the chief and myself and the command staff of the Stoughton Police Department to focus on the purpose. If we can identify the purpose of the organization and carry that forward throughout all the men and women of the Stoughton Police Department, we end up a better organization for that. A very esteemed and trusted colleague of mine recently said to me that we're at a very exciting time for the Stoughton Police Department. We have a lot of changes. We have the police and fire department coming under the same roof for communications. We have 5 and an additional 2 new members of the department coming out of the police academy. And those folks are going to have to be trained by field training officers. The role of a field training officer is a heavy burden. It's a very important time in the career of a police officer to learn their purpose, their job. So I agree with my colleague that we are at a very exciting time for the Stoughton Police Department and for the town. Another very trusted friend of mine asked me recently after finding out that I had this position, how do you feel? And I had one word from my friend, grateful. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you, Chief.
Reiterate what Deputy Chief Holmes just said. We're in an exciting time for our department, a lot of changes, and those are positive changes for the town of Stoughton. There are many people in the back of the room that are officers that are here tonight to see this occasion take place. Please take a moment to say hello to them, introduce yourself if you've never met them. We are human beings who are here doing a very important job for this community. Most of us, if not all of us, are stakeholders for one way or another in this town, whether we live here or used to live here. But this town means a great deal to all of us. And accomplishing the things that we do every day, like saving a life during the 8 to 4 shift today, has a great impact on our community in a positive sense. So thank you all for being here. Please stay. We have light refreshments afterwards. Take a moment to say hello to your new Stoughton police officers and the new deputy chief. Thank you.